The federal budget, your business, your money, with KPMG in Canada.
I'm Ann Rohmer. The federal budget will be tabled on April the 16th. Lots to discuss in the days leading up to it with Dino Infanti, partner, national leader, private enterprise tax, KPMG in Canada. He joins us now on 105.9 The Region to discuss green tax credits and why, based on the results of a recent KPMG survey, small and medium-sized Canadian businesses want them fast-tracked. Dino, thank you so much for joining us. So let's start at the very beginning. Let's talk about green tax credits. What are they?
Sure. Thank you, Anne, and appreciate you having me here today. Look, Canada's committed to be carbon neutral by 2050 and really has made it a priority to retool the economy to achieve this goal. This requires a vast amount of business investment, and there were 5 major green energy tax credits that were previously announced that are really the core to the government's plan to support businesses to decarbonize and transition to a clean, rather innovative economy.
Can we go through those 5 investment tax credits? For instance, clean technology, what is that?
Yeah, sure thing. There are 5. So clean technology tax credit, clean hydrogen tax credit, clean electricity, clean tech manufacturing, and carbon capture, utilization, and storage. And they're all slightly different in terms of the context in which they are intended to capture. But here's the thing, really, ultimately, is that Canadian companies basically said in our survey, our firm conducted a survey of more than 500 small and medium-sized businesses and said, look, we're relying on these tax credits to really ease the financial burden of the green transition because it's going to be expensive to implement.
So we're talking about small and medium businesses. That was the core of your survey that we are discussing right now. Why does a tax credit, a green tax credit, or lack thereof, why does that impact small and medium-sized Canadian businesses?
Ultimately, over 3/4 of the leaders that we surveyed that basically had told us that they plan to use these clean energy tax credits, and essentially 1/3 of them are relying on the government to help finance them. And how is that? Well, it would be through the implementation of these clean energy tax credits, because as I said, it's expensive to implement, but private business leaders, small businesses intend to invest in this particular area, but they need help. And the other thing is, they're complex, so they also want some clarity around what these credits mean, and certainly want to see them fast-tracked as well.
And when we say fast-tracked, what is meant by that? I mean, it obviously will be discussed in the budget, which will be tabled on April the 16th, but how fast is fast-tracked?
Yeah, sure thing. Some of these credits, so of the 5, some were announced back in 2022, for example, and we still haven't seen final legislation come into force. So what the business leaders are telling us is, look, we're all in on this. We want to see these credits. We want to see some clarification around it so that we can do our part and implement such measures.
We're looking south of the border right now, and some of the items that I pulled out of your survey, for instance, 83% of those surveyed believe Canada needs to do more to compete with U.S. climate policy funding, programs, tax initiatives, etc. Why is it so important that we are not falling behind the United States in this case?
Yeah, certainly. It's certainly very important that Canadian businesses and the business leaders told us, look, one of the things that is critical here is, of course, we are competing against the U.S. Inflation Reduction Act, which was introduced in 2022, and it was just a huge piece of legislation. So Canadian companies are saying, look, let's fast-track these tax credits. Otherwise, we risk falling further behind their U.S. counterparts. So critically important that they stay competitive.
What are you expecting in the budget on the 16th of April? What are you expecting from the Trudeau government?
Certainly, as it relates to the clean energy tax credits, clarification of the rules. The rules coming into force soon. And that way, business owners can certainly have some clarity around that. And the other sort of other measures, aside from the green transition housing, we've seen a lot of spending announcements of recent. That's an important area. There's businesses and business leaders have told us that housing is the economy's greatest risk. So we'll see some things around that, and perhaps some other measures as it relates to tax matters like scientific research and experimental development, for example.
We will definitely be talking about this and more again. Thank you, Dino Infanti from KPMG. I'm Ann Rohmer for 105.9 The Region.
Your Money with KPMG in Canada on 105.9 The Region. Listen live at 105.9 FM or online at 1059theregion.com.